Prinsloo. I call him by first name because we work with him. I met him when he was a warrant officer in 2004. So he expressed concern about the personnel, that they don't have members. And I said I will look into that if there are posts available, but they must also try and recruit members around Potchefstroom to apply into the DPCI, because you cannot just take a person and bring him in. That was the meeting about. As I said, Commissioner, Lieutenant Colonel Mchani must have informed General Smona of the meeting. On the morning of the 8th November 2021, I received a call from Lieutenant Colonel Prinsloo, who informed me that the Potchefstroom DPCI office has been broken into, an entry gained through Warrant Officer BJ Pinal's office. He said that suspected cocaine exhibit had been stolen and the safe door had been cut by what looked to be a grinder to gain entry to the safe room. I told Lieutenant Colonel Prinsloo to secure the scene, call the local police and LCRC to attend to the crime scene. I called Colonel Jacob and informed him of the theft, and I told him to proceed to Potchefstroom since it was his stolen exhibit as the investigating officer of the initial seizure on the 22 June 2021. If I recall, Commissioner, where Pangase was the first investigator, and then Jacob also took over immediately in July. So he was the one that was investigating the matter. Thereafter, I went to General Snona's office to inform him about the theft, and he called the national head, Lieutenant General Lebia, the provincial commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkwanazi, and the provincial head of crime intelligence, Major General Chika, and informed them of the theft. General Snona instructed me to attend to the scene with him. On our arrival at the scene, at the crime scene, I conducted Brigadier Spear, the district detective commander, to inform him of the theft, since the theft occurred in his district, and he also came to the crime scene. I also called the district commissioner, Major General Nxamangele, to the crime scene because the crime happened in her district. She's a female as well. On the way to the crime scene, I also contacted the provincial crime scene management team, as their mandate is to attend to serious and complex crime scenes. Given this was a theft of suspected cocaine exhibit from the police custody, I considered it to be a serious crime warranting their attendance. This team arrived at the same time as General Snona and me. Lieutenant Colonel Prinsloo briefed us at the scene, and I noticed that Captain Van Wyk from the local criminal record center was also on the crime scene. Captain Van Wyk did a walkthrough with the provincial crime scene management team, who took over the crime scene, and Captain Van Wyk left. I also activated the provincial tracking team, but they never arrived. I was informed that they went to town in an attempt to obtain information relating to the theft. I must state that when I observed the scene, I was shocked that the safe had been breached, but more than that, I was skeptical that the safe had been breached by the grinding the door. I would have expected the DPCI investigators to have investigated the possibility that the scene was staged and obtained an expert opinion on whether the cutout that we observed could have indeed resulted in the safe being breached. To date, I'm not aware of any such report being obtained by the investigators.
What was your skepticism based on?
I did not get you, Commissioner.
You were saying that you were skeptical that the safe had been breached by grinding the door. So I'm saying, or rather I'm asking, what was your skepticism based on? Why were you skeptical?
Earlier on, Commissioner, I said that I had the owner of the landlord told us that this safe could never be breached without a key. So that causes my skepticism.
All right, thank you.
What is your suspicion? Because now you leave us guessing. I don't think you've quite answered Chair's question. Because you are saying you are skeptical that it could have been breached this way. So you might still be coming to it later, I don't know. But what is your suspicion? Because you say also here that you believe that it was staged.
I suspected it to be staged because I was under the impression that those strong rooms can never be accessed without a key.
Had the owner ever explained this view?
Yes. He used to come to the office, we will talk. He was an old man, very friendly.
Did he explain why he said?
He used to say it's a state-of-art strong room. But then I would have expected that this needed to be investigated further so that what the landlord said can be proved or disapproved.
All right, all right.
Can I ask a more direct question? Is it your suspicion, let me not call it a belief, is it your suspicion that the safe was opened first and the grinding happened after? Because reading between the lines, that's what it looks like you are saying here. And I could be wrong, so I need you to clarify that.
Commissioners, I'm not the expert. Hence, I'm saying, if we can get people who are expert in safes, they can clarify that.
Answered me, thank you.
During the course of the day, there were scheduled interviews for the appointment of Lieutenant Colonel. General Snoda and I returned to the office for those interviews, as well as scheduled civil unrest virtual meeting chaired by General Lebia. As I stated, Commissioners, every day we almost had those meetings around about 4 o'clock. And on this day too, there was the scheduled interviews for lieutenant colonels. To the best of my recollection, the theft docket was given to Brigadier Sbiya because General Snonda suggested that General Detective investigate the matter until a final decision is made by senior management.
Sorry, Brigadier, can you just tell us what is General Detectives?
Okay. General detectives are detectives from the SAPS because we are the Hawks and the motherboard, we call them motherboard, they've also got general detectives.
So General Sonona had suggested that a detective from SAPS conduct the investigation. Is that
Initially, yes.
Initially, okay.
Yes.
Brigadier Sibia that you're referring to here and Jones, were they from the SAPS therefore?
Yes. Brigadier Sbiya was the district commander for detectives who appointed Sergeant Jones.
Okay, thank you.
Or Warrant Officer Jones. Brigadier Sibia was instructed to appoint a detective to investigate the matter. I later learned that Warrant Officer Jones was appointed as the investigator. On the 18th of November 2021, I met the then Deputy National Head of the DPCI, Lieutenant General Musikile, and she informed me that the docket had been taken from the Potchefstroom detective and that it will be assigned to an investigator from the DPCI head office. This meant that the DPCI head office will be investigating the case.
Brigadier, in other words, DPCI would be investigating itself.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thereafter, I was introduced to Colonel Mojela and Captain Mashao as the investigating officers. Colonel Mojela used to work with General Snona at Gauteng DPCI. He was subsequently promoted to the rank of a brigadier and appointed to the same position as me in Northern Cape. I cooperated with the investigators. I was aware that the DPCI members were subjected to polygraph examination as part of the investigation, but I was not called for the polygraph examination. However, I recall that during that time, I was busy with the civil unrest matters and not involved at all with the Potchefstroom theft investigation. I do not know why I was not subjected to a polygraph test, but I would have taken it if so required, and I'm still prepared to take the test.
Brigadier, did you, my recollection of General Sinona's evidence on the polygraph test is that he requested that all his subordinates be subjected to a polygraph test. You would have been one of those.
That's correct.
Did you ever become aware that he made that kind of a general request which would have included you?
No, commissioners.
Okay. Thank you.
My top secret security clearance was due to expire at the end of September 2023. In June 2023, after the theft, I applied for the renewal of my top secret security clearance. The process involves submitting references, bank statement, being interviewed by a vetting officer, and undergo a polygraph test. Although the questioning during the polygraph examination were not focused on the Potchefstroom theft, the question asked relate to whether you have ever been involved in corrupt activities, colluded with criminals, share information with criminals, and the likes. I passed the polygraph test and I was issued with my new top secret clearance certificate in March 2025, as it is evident from my updated SAP 96, not 69, attached here too. I think from page...
Please repeat that correction.
Instead of 69, it's 96.
Oh, thank you.
From page 20 onwards. But to be specific, it says SAP 96, and then they say security clearance.
Please refer us to the page number. Please don't flash
Page
it.
20. Sorry, commissioners.
Yes, Brigadier, you can tell us where you want to refer us to.
Okay, it has all my details, and then at the last, there's a security clearance. There's a 4 top secret. And then the clearance date is 2025-03-04. It means that is the date it was issued.
Thank you.
Other matters?
Thank you, Commissioners. During his testimony before the Commission, Warrant Officer Carl Sanders gave evidence regarding his move from SANAP to supply chain management in February 24. He testified that I was present in the meeting when General Sinona informed him of the allegations together with other officials. I was on leave at the time and I was not present at that meeting. I've been informed by the Commission that Warrant Officer Sanders has since looked at his diary entry of the day and confirmed that I was not present at the meeting. Although Warrant Officer Sanders was in my section, he reported to Lieutenant Kenneth Jacob as the SANAP team leader. I was surprised when I returned from the leave to find that Warrant Officer Sanders had been moved to support services at the provincial office. My General Sinona did not consult me on this. General Sinona merely informed me on my return from leave that a complaint had been received regarding Warrant Officer Sanders that needed to be investigated. The Commission is in possession of the emails containing the complaint. The email was sent to General Lebia, who sent the email to General Sinona with the instruction to reach out to the complainant, investigate the matter and report back on the progress by the 23rd of February 24. I am aware that General Sinona assigned the complaint to Lieutenant Colonel Mchali to investigate. I will receive progress reports, consider same and submit to General Sinona. I know that the NPA sent a letter to the complainant, but the complainant could not be traced. General Sinona sent a progress report on the 29th of February 24, but I do not recall the content of the report. I know that the complainant could not be found. I assumed that the report would have been to inform General Lebia that the complainant could not be traced. However, the investigation continued because these were serious allegations. Prior to the February 2024 complaint, another complaint was received from the office of the DPCI judge in July 2023 about a certain captain who used to work at SANA, but the name of Warrant Officer Sanders was not mentioned. The complaint contained the captain, and the complaint was about white members of the KZN DPCI in SANEP and other units working with drug syndicate. Lieutenant Kenneth Jacob and Lieutenant Kenneth Dwarika were assigned to investigate the complaint, but to date, there has not been no outcome. I do not know whether the complaints were genuine or orchestrated. I must say also, I have submitted this report to the Commission. It's a very detailed report with pictures.
Brigadier, what is a DPCI judge?
The DPCI judge is the judge that oversees the DPCI. When members have complained about the conduct of the DPCI members, or when the DPCI members felt that there are some interference with their duties, they can report direct to the DPCI judge.
Brigadier, when you said there in the very last sentence that you do not know whether the complaints were genuine or orchestrated attacks, but you also say, the last thing you said was you've submitted a report with pictures, which is confusing in the light of what you say in that very last sentence. Can you just explain
I
that?
say this because these complainants, whenever the both of them, when the investigators tried to reach out to them. They could not find them. But yet they have these complaints.
Now, I'm asking a different question. The report with pictures that you say you have submitted, you say you've submitted them to the commission.
That's correct, Commissioner.
That report and pictures, do they bear out the complaint, these allegations against these officers?
Yes,
They do?
that's correct, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
Just to clarify, Brigadier, you're not referring to the report, you're referring to the complaint itself. The complaint itself has pictures. There is no report that has been submitted to the commission. You gave the commission the complaint, which contains the pictures.
Yes, it was the complaint
Yes.
Yes.
There's no report.
report.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm asking because you've given it to us, but there was no report. It was just the complaint with a covering letter from the office of the DPCI judge.
DPCI judge. I will check, Commissioners.
Okay, we'll clarify it over the tea adjournment.
Yes.
But just,
Because there were progress reports on that, but I will check.
maybe I'm missing something, Brigadier. In response to Commissioner Baloyi, you say it appeared as though there was substance in the complaints. But at the same time, you question whether the complaints were genuine. I have difficulties following that.
No, my take on this is that these complainants were not willing to come forth. Like the one of 2023, the email that he used looked like the email was used for the specific emailing this, and we could not get. We even tried with the DPCI judge to reach out to them, to the complainant. But to be honest, what is detailed in that complaint it's a very serious allegations.
I would have thought that there's a difference between the complainants not being traceable and the complaints themselves having substance. I would have thought there's a difference between the two. Now, in answering the question whether there was substance, you seem to suggest a lack of substance because the complainants were not traceable. I still do not get that.
Okay. Commissioners,
Do you get the distinction I'm drawing?
Yes. I think the substance was there. The substance was there.
The substance was there.
Was there.
All
Was
right,
there.
thank you. If that is so, then why question the genuineness? If there was substance, why question the genuineness of the complaints?
Maybe I wrote it because of us not getting hold of them, but there was substance.
All right,
I
thank you.
will retract the latter part, Commissioners. The genuine, whether the complaints were genuine or orchestrated.
Oh, all right. Also, so you're basically saying you are withdrawing that part that questions the genuineness.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Maybe one last question on this. This captain and the other members, were they removed from their position? Is there any action that was taken? We know with Warrant Officer Sender that when the complaint was received, he was removed from his position. What happened with these?
The captain was already out of the Senate, and he was a partner of, while he was in SANAP, was a partner of Warrant Officer Sander.
And for the record, you say this latter complaint did not concern him, that is Sander, Warrant Officer Sander. The latter one that we're debating now, you're are saying it did not concern Warrant Officer Sanda.
Commissioner, I would say he was not mentioned
Yes.
in the report, in the complaint, but indirectly when you read, you could associate him to that, but his name was never mentioned.
All right, thank you, thank you.
And the other white members, because you speak of the captain, and you say the complaint was about white members, were any members in addition to the captain? And reading between the lines, you say Sanda, Warrant Officer Sanda as well. But these other white members, were any other members mentioned by name?
No, they were never mentioned. The complainant just mentioned one person.
Okay. Thank you.
And Brigadier, just to clarify on the progress reports that you were referring to, those progress reports, were they able to verify the allegations made in the complaint?
The matter is being investigated, and the photos of the people, it appeared that some of them, they had previously been investigated by the DPCI for drug trafficking.
No, my question was the complaint that was made, were you able to verify the allegations in the complaint as part of your investigation to date?
Commissioners, at the moment, I cannot answer that question.
Okay, thank you.
Please continue, Brigadier.
Paragraph 55.
In March 2025, an information note was prepared and sent to General Lebia. No report back was given on the main allegation of serious corruption, but during the course of the investigation, it was discovered that Warrant Officer Sanda had not declared his directorship in a shooting club. He received a verbal warning and the matter was closed. To date, there has been no outcome on the investigation regarding the allegation of serious corruption. I did not get any feedback from General Snona regarding the outcome of Warrant Officer Sanda's matter. At some point, Warrant Officer Sanda came to me to speak to me about the returning to Soki. I told him that I would speak to General Snona, who agreed that Warrant Officer Sanda could return to Soki, but not to Sanap. General Snona said Warrant Officer Sanda must go to EPR. I communicated this to Warrant Officer Sanda as instructed by General Snona, and Warrant Officer Sanda was moved from the support service to EPR. I reiterate to the Commission that I had nothing to do with the Potchefstroom theft, and I hope that my evidence will be of assistance to the Commission. I just want to read further that I reiterate that I had nothing to do with the Potchefstroom theft. As testified by Warrant Officer Sanda and Lieutenant Colonel Jacob, there is a credible evidence on the identity as to who is behind the theft. I have no association with that person. There was a person that came to Durban office and gave information about it, and he was taken to senior officers, and DPCI investigators were told about this person. In the inside, perhaps I should not have suggested the Potchefstroom premises, but as a former unit commander, I was confident that the safe could be accessed with the keys. Once General Sinona took both keys, this gave me the further assurance that the exhibit would be safe in the strong room because the provincial head would be the only person with the both set of keys to secure the exhibit. To surely the exhibit will be, so surely the exhibit will be safe. That's my statement, Commissioners. Signed today at Pretoria.
Oh, I have a clarity seeking question, but perhaps let's take the adjournment now and resume at 11:30. Let's adjourn.
Passed. We are ready to resume. Please switch off your phones. Thank you.
Perhaps, Brigadier, before putting the question to you, let me find out from Ms. Lee Siegels. Should I ask any questions about the person whose name was not mentioned, or should I leave it?
My apologies, Chair, you may. I'm not sure why the Brigadier didn't mention the name. There was no indication given that the name.
Thank you, thank you. Brigadier, right at the end, you mentioned a person that you appear to suspect to be the person that stole the exhibits in Port Shepstone, but you did not mention that person's name. Who was that person?
My apologies, Chair. I thought you were referring to a different person. No, yeah.
No. I'm talking about what the Brigadier said right at the end.
Chair,
so,
that can't be mentioned.
So I steer clear of that one.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. That's why I wanted to find out from you. Please forget my question then, Brigadier.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I thought you were referring to the captain whose name he didn't mention but appears in his statement. That's what my apologies.
All right, no problem.
Brigadier, is there anything else you want to say before we move on to your questions?
No, Commissioners.
Can I just ask a question to the evidence leaders? Brigadier appeared to be reading from a document we do not have. Can you just clarify what the position is? Is that part of his statement, or how do we deal with it as a commission?
He's read it into the record, but it's not part of his statement. It was initially in his statement. It was taken out. He asked for it to be reintroduced, but by the time it was, his statement had already been signed by him. He only noticed after signing that it wasn't in his statement. So we'll just prepare a short supplementary to include that portion.
That's in order. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Brigadier, I just want to find out from you what happened on the 22nd of June 2021. We know now that when Warrant Officer Mpangase contacts you that morning, you are not his immediate superior. He's bypassed his superior to inform you of the operation that he's going to attend. And in that conversation, he tells you that he's going with Lieutenant Colonel Jacob. Is that correct?
That's correct, Commissioners.
Okay. At that stage, do you give any instructions to them? Are you asked to authorize Lieutenant Colonel Jacob's attendance at the scene? What is the conversation between you and Warrant Officer Mpangase?
If my recollection serves me correctly, I did not give any instruction. I accepted what they were telling me, and I was waiting for the outcome of the investigation.
I'm asking because you will recall that as part of the theft investigation, you had submitted witness statements to the investigating officers at the time. Do you recall that?
I do recall, Commissioners.
If I could ask you to go to, there's an exhibit bundle file in front of you. If you can go to exhibit CJC 197.4, and I think it is, in fact, if you can rather go to 597, that's page 597 of the exhibit bundle.
What's written on the spine?
It says Port Shepstone exhibit bundle, Chair. It should be the first bundle. I'm working from the electronic version, so I'm not sure in hard copy if it's the first or the second exhibit bundle. CJC 243. It's file 2, exhibit bundle, file 2.
File 2.
Yes. Do you have it? It's page 597 of that bundle.
Yes, Commissioners.
It's a statement by you.
Yes, it was a further statement.
Yes. And if we go to 598, we'll see that it was deposed to on the 10th of May 2022.
Yes, Commissioners.
Okay. Now, you say at 597, on the 11th of April 2022, I had a meeting with Colonel Mojela. My initial statement that I submitted on the house-breaking matter at Port Shepstone Serious Organized Crime Officers. Colonel Mojela requested that I give a further statement clarifying the following: communication between myself, Colonel Jacob, and Warrant Officer Mpangase on the day of the seizure. I want you to skip the 1, 2, 3 bullet points. The sentence immediately after the third bullet where it says, who was the unit commander in, do you see that bullet? Who was the unit commander in Durban, serious organized crime?
Okay.
Then it says Colonel Mhlongo was the acting unit commander. The next bullet says Colonel Jacob was called back from leave. Do you see that topic?
Yes.
When Warrant Officer Mpangase called me in the morning about the information, he told me that crime intelligence wanted Colonel Jacob to handle the matter because of trust issues. I then authorized Colonel Jacob to resume his duties, especially for the said operation, as he was on leave. Do you recall making that
Now,
statement?
I recall making this statement.
Yes. Now, in your statement and before the commission, you don't give that much detail. You just say on page 9 of your statement, in fact, you deal with the call with Warrant Officer Mpangase at paragraph 26 on page 8. And you just say, I was on duty when I received a call from Warrant Officer Mpangase. He reported to Colonel Jacob, who was the SANAP team leader at the time. Warrant Officer Mpangase informed me that he was contacted by crime intelligence regarding suspected drugs in a container at Isipingo. He told me that he was attending the operation with Colonel Jacob and Warrant Officer Sabia, who was at EPR. Now, you don't say here that you authorized Colonel Jacob to come from leave in
Yes.
order to attend to this. So can you just clarify what happened in fact?
Thank you. This was a further statement because they wanted further clarity as to why Colonel Jacob. And then I remember that he was on leave. Because when I submitted my initial statement, that was not in my mind. And then when they asked me questions, it is then that I remembered that he was on leave, not that I wanted to hide anything. And I think in his statement too, he has put that he was on leave and he came back.
Yes, but your statement to the commission, that's what I'm trying to establish. In that statement, you don't say that. So I just want to understand whether you were in fact told by Warrant of Mpangase that crime intelligence officer that contacted specifically wanted Colonel Jacob on this operation.
No, they did. Mpangase did tell me that.
Okay, he did tell you that that is what crime intelligence had requested specifically.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I can also add to that, these operational officers, they tend to have certain people they want to work with, the crime intelligence handlers, as well as the investigators. You will see that in most cases, there is a Colonel Bucas from crime intelligence, he will always ask for Carl. And the others, I think it's a trust issue.
Okay, so there was nothing untoward about that request when Warrant Officer Mpangase told you about it?
No, I did not see anything untoward.
And you weren't aware that Colonel Jacob was on leave at the time until Warrant Officer Mpangase told you?
No, I won't, because I did not sign his leave form, the SAP 26. The leave form is normally signed by the immediate commander. At my level, I only sign for the unit commanders.
Okay, so insofar as then approving for him to go on to the operation to come back from leave, wouldn't his unit commander also have to be involved in that decision-making?
I have explained the difficulties we had with the current commander. Hence, it looked like we were not regarding her, because he was not aware of the operational issues.
Okay, but when it is told to you that somebody specific is asking for Lieutenant Colonel Jacob to be taken from leave, put on this operation specifically, you didn't see the need at that stage to just inform the unit commander that I have authorized this, that he may go on to the operation?
Commissioners, I did not do it. I think it's an oversight on my side, and I agree I should have informed the colonel.
Because it's the same complaint that you have about General Sonona going over your head directly to your members without informing you, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you ask anything insofar or make any inquiries as to why they were sending Sabia with them? I think it was the captain at that stage.
I think it was a warrant officer.
Yes, a warrant officer.
No, I did not probe it, because normally when we attend crime scene, we include many people. Also people from different sections, also different departments as well.
Okay.
That will be your custom, that will be your harbor policing, crime intelligence.
Okay. What I'm trying to establish is that you get told that it's Warrant Officer Mpangase going with Lieutenant Colonel Jacob. He is not the most senior person that's contacting you. One would assume that Colonel Jacob would contact you and say to you, ask to be put back on, to be taken off leave and be authorized to go on to the project, but that doesn't happen. Then you have somebody like Warrant Officer Sevilla, who doesn't have any experience, I'm assuming at that stage, in drug bust, because he's in EPR, correct? He's at the human trafficking section.
The economic protected resources.
Yes. So he's on that. So that doesn't have anything to do with SANAP, or is there do they overlap in certain instances?
I did not see that as a concern to me, because he had to learn. Because now he's with SANAP anyway.
Our understanding of the evidence is what do you mean he was with SANAP? EPR is in SANAP.
No, ma'am. Remember, I've testified to say serious organized crime has got 3 sections. There's NPVC, which deals with serious and violent crime cases. There's SANAP, which deals with drugs. And there's also EPR. Now, for them to attend the crime scene and see how the other sections are working, it helps them, because when they are promotional posts, a person does not apply within his line of work. They will apply on all these 3 sections.
Yes. Now, I was just clarifying when you say he's with SANAP. as if suggesting that at the time that he was asked to join this, or when he was called in to join this operation, he was a member of SANEP at that point. I just wanted to clarify that he was not SANEP at the time.
No, he was with EPR.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Okay. And you then say that you received a call later on from Lieutenant Colonel Jacob. When he called you, was he at the scene, at the crime scene, so at the CHC depot, or was he already at Isipingo police station?
The first call I received from Colonel Jacob to me, because I wasn't there, he was at the crime scene reporting the discovery.
Okay, and you then say you're going to he must keep you updated, and then you receive another call from him. The first call that you received, do you recall more or less what time you had received it?
It was early in the morning. I can't be specific with time.
Okay. And at that stage, did he mention anything about having contacted FSL to come to the crime scene to assist them with anything?
No.
Okay. When you speak to him again, that is now when he's at the police station. Is that the next time when you speak to him, when he's at the Isipingo police station?
Yes.
When he's at the Isipingo police station, he then tells you that they are there and they're encountering problems with getting the exhibits. I suppose it was that they're struggling to get it to be stored there, or what was his complaint?
That they were not allowing him to hand in the exhibit because
Okay.
there was safety concern.
When you say safety concern, what do you mean?
That's what he told me. And that also they did not have a storage for the amount of exhibit that they were having.
And he said that's what he gets told when he's at Isipingo.
Yes.
Okay. But you say in your statement, he tells you that he has exhausted all avenues.
Yes.
Is that in the same conversation?
In the same conversation. Then I assume that he would have spoken to all the nearest police stations.
That was an assumption that you made, but you didn't actually ask him what he meant by that.
No, I did not.
Okay. So what then makes...
Remember, sorry, evidence leader and commissioners. I regard Colonel Jacob as a very experienced person. And his section has discovered this type of drugs. So when he brings this to me, I assume that he has done all the necessary steps to ensure that he contacted me, because from my experience, it was the first time I'm being told that there was no space in the police station. I knew that some police station will not have space, and then you will go to the next police station and ask if they can accommodate the exhibits. So when he said he has exhausted all the avenues, to me, it told me that he has done everything.
You say it's the first time that you have heard that there's no space at all the police stations. Did I hear you correctly?
It's not the first time, maybe it's me putting it, that it was the first time I'm approached as the provincial commander, because members will, on their own, try and get spaces and report back to us, to me, or to the management. They say, we couldn't get the space here, but we put exhibit here.
Okay. So why do you, at that stage, then contact FSL after you've spoken to him?
because I wanted them to rescue us, to take the exhibits.
Okay, would you not have thought that when he said he's exhausted all avenues, that that would have included FSL? That he contacted FSL and FSL also said that they can't assist?
It never came into my mind, hence I called him.
Okay, and did he tell you that he had also called FSL?
No.
And he didn't?
No,
So when you call FSL, you have no knowledge that he had previously called or earlier that day called FSL?
no, if my recollection serves me correct, no.
Okay. Now, I wanted to just take you to clarify the time issue because it is important. If you go to the consolidated statement file, there should be a file that says consolidated statement. It's section 2, and it's the statement of Lieutenant Colonel Prinsloo. Somebody will assist you. It's page 14, 14 of section 2. Do you have it?
Yes, sir.
It's paragraph 40, page 14, paragraph E, arrival of the exhibits at the DPCI office on 22 June 2021. Do you have it?
Yes.
Okay. At paragraph 44, this is what Lieutenant Colonel Prince said. On 22 June 2021, at between 10 and 11 in the morning, I received a telephone call from Brigadier Nyuswa. He informed me that the provincial tracing team had seized a large quantity of drugs, cocaine, from a container. He instructed me to make storage available at our offices. Now, if Colonel Prinsloo's time is correct, that you told him at 10 or 11 o'clock, then it means that if you instructed him at 10 and 11 o'clock to already get the premises ready, then Colonel Jacob would have told you earlier that he had exhausted all avenues and you would have then come up with this plan to go to Port Shepstone.
I disagree, Commissioners. I think the timing of, the timeline of Colonel Prince here is wrong. Also, what is also incorrect here, I never communicated that the tracking team, because Jacob is not from the tracing team.
Okay, and you will recall that when I consulted with you, I did highlight this to you because it would mean that there was never a conversation with Colonel Jacob about Isipingo not wanting to assist them. It was always the intention that the exhibits were going to go to Port Shepstone, because if at 10 o'clock that arrangement is already made, then everything that follows after that is just staged to explain why it eventually goes to Port Shepstone.
Commissioners, Jacob called me from Isipingo. It was after noon, maybe from 12 onwards. Hence, I'm saying this timeline of Colonel Prinsloo is wrong.
Okay. I accept that he can be wrong. I just, of course, do need to put it to you. What we do know is that Colonel Jacob called you twice, though. It's not just the one time when he's at Isipingo. He does call you the morning of the 22nd of June, when he's at the scene, as you earlier said.
Yes.
Okay. But you're saying that you couldn't have called Prinsloo at 10 or 11 o'clock
No, it's
to
impossible.
arrange the premises?
It's impossible, Commissioners.
You would have only called him after you called FSL?
Yes.
Okay. And we know that, according to you, you called FSL in the afternoon,
Yes.
and Colonel Kuzwayo also confirms from FSL that she received a call in the afternoon.
Yes.
She does recall that it was from you, but her reason for the call is quite different to yours, and we'll get to that. Now, when you make the call to FSL, you say that you only asked about whether they have storage.
That's correct.
Okay. Were you aware of any request that was made to FSL for your members to be assisted by the FSL members to guide them on how to do sampling, for your members to be guided on how to do sampling by the FSL members?
No, Commissioners. I can't recall that.
You never had a conversation with anyone at FSL about them sending their members to assist your members with sampling?
It wouldn't have been about sampling. You can't do sampling before you enter the exhibit into the 13. Because that means you will be destroying the evidence. It has first to go to the 13, and then you take those samples from the 13 to the FSL, not from the crime scene.
Now, it's a bit curious as to why when the FSL members testify, what they say is they received a request to go and assist Brigadier Nyuswa's members. They don't say to go and assist SANEP, they say to go and assist Brigadier Nyuswa's members, suggesting that you either called and asked about the sampling or that somebody used your name and said that they are Brigadier Nyuswa's team and they needed assistance with sampling.
I've heard that testimony, but I do not know how my name came. But my name has been mentioned so many times on this investigation.
Okay. And when did you then first become aware that there had been sampling done on the exhibits by your team, by your members?
The sampling, I think it was done after the storage of the exhibit at Potchefstroom.
No, my question is, when did you become aware that sampling was done by your members?
It's quite old, but incident is too long, but it was after the storage.
Okay.
Sorry, in paragraph 37, you say on the 23rd of June, you were told by General Sinona to inform Colonel Prinsloo that Mpangase would be going to the strong room to take samples of the exhibits. So according to your statement, you became aware on the 23rd.
On the 23rd.
June. Yes, the very next day.
I'm sorry about that, Commissioners. I don't try to distort here.
That's all right. It's in your statement.
So if it was on the 23rd, do you know if at that stage they had registered the exhibits into the SAP 13? Because according to you, they can't do the sampling without first registering into the SAP 13.
Remember, Commissioners, the exhibits were entered in Isipingo on the 22nd. Because the national instruction also says that they need to be entered into the nearest police station.
But Brigadier, you're an experienced investigator. You know that wasn't the correct procedure that they undertook on that day when they registered it into the SAP 13. The exhibits were not in evidence bags, in exhibit bags.
Okay. That alone is another issue on its own. But to enter them into the SAP 13, to say 541 bricks of suspected cocaine on 27 bags, that I was not at Isipingo, but it was done. I was told it was done.
But they were also booked out on the same day.
And also booked out on the same day.
And so on the 23rd of June, they were unaccounted for in any record of the SAPS because they were booked in Isipingo and then booked out the same day. And on the 23rd, they hadn't yet been booked into the Port Shepstone SAP 13. So at that point, there's no record, written record of the SAPS where these exhibits are, as you phone Colonel Prinsloo, that your people are coming to take samples.
Yeah.
Yes,
I was following the instruction
yes.
from my superior to phone Colonel Prinsloo and tell him to expect Bangase because he was coming there.
Yes, I understand that part, but I think the question that you're being asked is, at that point, they are not in any, their presence in Port Shepstone, DPCI, are not recorded in any SAP 13 or any other document. And you, as an experienced officer, police officer, I think the suggestion is, but you would know that taking samples at that point, when these exhibits are not in any record of the SAPS, is irregular or is not proper procedure. You concede that was not proper procedure, what happened here.
Can I put it differently? Is the correct procedure not that before they were taken to the DPCI offices in Port Shepstone, they should have been booked into the, SAP 13 at the Port Shepstone police station before you even store them in the safe at the DPCI offices?
You're correct, Commissioner.
That would have been the correct procedure,
That would
because
have been
then
the correct.
you could account for their leaving Ispingo and
To
being
Potchefstroom
in Port
and then
Shepstone.
to,
Yeah.
yes.
So your reasoning that although the proper chain of custody was not preserved, because Mpangase was in control throughout, you were happy that at least he knew where they were, because that seems to be your suggestion or
Yes.
your line of reasoning, that because he knows where they are, then they were not compromised.
That's correct, Commissioner.
But he could compromise them. Why do you think he could not compromise?
Commissioners, we work on the trust basis.
You made a distinction between, I think it was chain of custody and then the chain of evidence. You say that the custody is that Warrant Officer Mpangase is always with the exhibits from the time that they seize it at the scene, and so that maintains the chain of custody, correct?
Yes, correct.
But the chain of evidence is a different issue. That is, the evidence is already compromised when they leave there, because if they don't put it in bags when they leave at the crime scene, you don't know what's happening from the crime scene to the police station where they're going to enter the exhibits. Correct?
Sometimes it's practical, not possible, but I concede.
In what instances would it be practically not?
When you discover the drugs at the crime scene and you do not have evidence back, and then when you get to the police station, that is when you get the bags and bag them. But most cases, when these incidents are occurring, there's multiple people. So the chances of anyone doing something wrong are very minimal.
Unless they're all acting in concert, they're all in on it.
But can't people from different departments work in concert? Someone out there would say, hey, something went wrong.
But except here, we know that we had Colonel Jacob Mpangase, who we know was specifically requested by the crime intelligence officer, and they rope in Warrant Officer Sabia. So it's the three of them, all from the same unit, who leave with the exhibits.
I hear you, Commissioners.
Okay.
I think the concern, Brigadier, is here you have a team of specifically selected people. You don't have multiple teams.
Yes.
that just happen to be on the scene and they are not necessarily friends or in any way associated with each other than that they all fall under the umbrella of the SAPS. This is completely different. You've got people who were specifically selected. Two of them say they were selected by the crime intelligence officer who gave them information, and then Colonel Jacob selected Sibia. So you've got three people who are involved in this operation. So your reasoning that it's unlikely, that anyone would do anything inappropriate when there are multiple players doesn't apply in this case.
I concede, Commissioner.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
But I wasn't aware that the other stakeholders were not involved.
Yes. Can I just raise something about that you say in your statement, and it's about this discussion with the evidence leader about the chain of evidence being compromised. In your statement, you say, I accept now. So remember you start off by saying you were satisfied that the chain of custody was preserved because Mpangase was going to remain with the exhibits throughout. And in the next sentence, you say, I accept now that once they left the crime scene without exhibits being placed in exhibit bags, the evidence was already compromised. Surely, as an experienced officer, you would have realized this back then, not now, not later. You would have realized once you became aware. So you do accept that even then, after the 22nd, you would have realized and acknowledged that the chain of evidence now, as of the 22nd of June, is compromised.
Advocate Ngube, just to help us with space, because can we please deal with paragraph 44 and 45 and 46 of Prince Law's statement so that we can put the file away? Because I know you were in 44, but we may need to come back to these two paragraphs.
Do you want to deal with them, Commissioner?
Maybe he
Yes.
can just comment on the allegations made there.
Okay. Brigadier, you still have Colonel Prinsloo's statement open on page 14? Yes. At paragraph 44, which is what I had read, he also said he instructed me to make storage available at our offices. He said he would take both sets of the safe keys with him once the exhibits were stored in the safe. He said the exhibits could not be stored at the Mamzantoti Forensic Science Laboratory as it did not have a secure storage capacity. I knew that the laboratory had been flooded and was dysfunctional. And then do you recall that that is the conversation you had with him? Can you switch on your microphones, please?
I apologize.
And keep them on, yes.
It was about the space, that they did not have the space. I think he just added some things that I did not say there.
The secure part, secure
Yes.
storage capacity, you say you didn't have.
How would I know about the security of the FSL? I'm not from there.
Okay. And then at 45, during the call, Brigadier Nyuswa did not discuss any other alternatives. He made no mention of any other storage. I know there were Durban Police Station, Maiden Wharf, or Isipingo police stations which operated 24 hours. These would have been more secure. Brigadier Nyuswa never mentioned anything about taking the exhibits to Isipingo or booking them at the Isipingo police station. You did you have a conversation with him to tell him what Lieutenant Colonel Jacob had told you, that they had gone to Isipingo, they booked it in?
I did. It worries me. Why is he putting this here? But anyway, he has said many things that are not correct to the commission.
Okay.
Look.
Yes, it's your opportunity now
Yeah,
to correct them. Yes.
First about the timeline. Second about the human chain, that I was there on the human chain drinking coffee, that he gave me the keys. Those are all unfounded things. Basically, I was not there when they formed that human chain, because if you know Sipingo is the town has got one main road. So when you are in, for you to come out is a mission, because there is a traffic flow. That's what caused us to come very late at Potchefstroom.
This is you and General Sonona?
Yes.
Okay. I do have an issue with that. When General Sonona says to you that you must go to oversee the operation, you're on your way to Isipingo police station.
That's correct, Commissioners.
But at that stage, you've already told the members that it must go to Port Shepstone, the exhibits must go to Port Shepstone, and you've already activated the tracking team to assist, correct?
Yes, on the instruction of my boss.
Yes. So when you leave with General Sonona to go to Isipingo, why don't you call the members then to find out where they are? Why do you go all the way to Isipingo on the assumption that they are still there? What gave you that impression that they would still be there if you had already told them where to go to, that they must go to Port Shepstone, and that a team had been activated to escort them?
Commissioners, I would not have an answer, because when we were about to enter Isipingo police, that is when we phoned. And they told us, no, we have left, we are on the way. And I don't know, I didn't know whether he did communicate with them when he came to me to say, let's go. We were just driving, and then we then phoned and said, where are you guys? They said, no, we're already on our way to Potchefstroom.
But what were you going to do at Isipingo? Assuming you find them there, they would have been getting ready to leave in any event to go to Port Shepstone. So why would you have gone to Isipingo in the first place?
It was an instruction from my superior, and I was following that instruction.
So it's General Sonona that says, let's go to Isipingo.
Yes.
Had you all told
He
him?
said, let's go, but then we went to Isipingo. And then when we were about to enter the police station, we made the call, and the members are saying, no, we already left Isipingo.
Okay, so you don't know why he wanted you to go to Isipingo, you just went with him?
Yes.
Okay. Did it make sense to you why he would want to go to Isipingo if the members have already been instructed to go to Port Shepstone?
I can't say, but also I did not question.
I understand, and we'll deal with the dynamic of the relationship, but it just seems to me that there was no need to go there in the first place. You had already told them to go to Port Shepstone. I can't think of a reason why the two of the most senior members of the DPCI in that province would go all the way to Isipingo police station, because what do you do when you get there if the members are still there? There's nothing to do. They are getting ready to go to Port Shepstone. So the reason why it's important is because the timeline, according to Prince Lou, you were there when the human chain happens, and that means you would have been there earlier, which means that if you left your office to go straight to Port Shepstone, then Prince Lou's timeline matches. But if you say we still detour to go to Isipingo, then he's out in his timeline. And I'm saying it just sounds implausible that the two of you would go to Isipingo for no particular reason.
But we went to Isipingo, Commissioners. That is why we were delayed to get to Potchefstroom.
Now, I understand that that's what you say, but of course, Prinsloo has a different timeline, which puts you at Port Shepstone premises much earlier than what you say. And you say the reason why I couldn't have been there earlier was because we first went to Isipingo, and then we had to detour, we had to turn around and go to Port Shepstone.
Commissioners, I think I made a diary entry on the day. And if my memory serves me correctly, I even said there that we first went to Sipingo and then from Sipingo to Port Shepstone. And that diary entry has the calculations of my kilometers, which I submitted at the end of the month of June to claim my fuel that I use on the day. So,
Are you saying that the claim that you made for the fuel would support that the kilometers that you traveled would support your version that you first went to Isipingo and then detoured?
I'm sure.
Okay.
It can't be, I know I've got an entry in the pocketbook, but then when you submit, you also make a copy of that, of the pocket, of the diary, and submit to the police, and they will keep it in the system.
Okay. Now, when you then eventually get to Port Shepstone, you say you weren't part of the human chain.
No.
What do you observe when you arrive at the scene? What are the members doing?
The exhibits, being 27 black bags of suspected cocaine, were already in the safe.
In the bags, in the black bags?
In the black bags.
Okay.
And Lieutenant Colonel Prinsloo and Pangase and the members were counting these bags, not counting the bricks, counting the bags.
They were counting the bags.
Yes.
Did you know whether they had counted the bricks themselves?
No. I think that counting must have been done at Isipingo.
Okay, so they would have taken the bricks out of the bags at Isipingo and then put them back in the bags to go to Port Shepstone.
Yes.
And when they get to Port Shepstone, they don't take it out of the bags, they just put the bags like that into the strong room.
When I got there, I did not witness that.
But they told you when you got there that it's 541 bricks.
Yes.
So they would have counted it already.
Yes.
Okay. And that you say would have happened at Isipingo.
That's correct.
Had you received any photographs from any team members at that stage of photographs taken at Isipingo police station of the bricks unpacked out of the bags?
Normally, when they submit a report, they will attach photos.
Now I'm talking about on that day, before you arrive at Port Shepstone. Had you received any photographs from them, from the members?
I cannot recall, but the report, there is a WhatsApp report that the members compile for the success. They will attach photos, and that WhatsApp report, I will send it to the general, and the general will send it to national office.
What do you mean WhatsApp report? So do they send it on WhatsApp? Do they compile it on WhatsApp?
There is the procedure is when there is successes or incidents, you compile a report. And the unit commander will send it to me. I will send it to the management group of the DPCI. And then the general will read it. If he's happy with it, he will then send it to the DPCI management group.
And but that didn't happen on that day. That happened afterwards. The next day, later that day.
Commissioners, I'm under oath, I won't lie, I can't remember.
I'm just trying to establish whether when you got to Port Shepstone, you had seen photographs of the exhibits unpacked, of the bricks unpacked out of the bags. Were there any photographs circulating at that stage?
Not on the official WhatsApp group, I don't recall that.
Okay. Because when it's then, according to you, it's in the bags, you say to Mpangase he must make sure that he puts them, or it's in the black bags. At the scene at Port Shepstone, you say to Mpangase he must make sure that the exhibits are put in exhibit bags and registered into the SAP 13. Do you recall you saying that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at that stage, you didn't know that they'd already unpacked the drugs. They had piled it up at the Isipingo police station. Fingerprints were on the bricks. None of that you were aware of.
No, I knew that they would have unpacked the bags for them to know that there were 541, because you cannot, from the bag, say, because these are 27 bags, it's 541 kg.
And what reason did they give you as to why it wasn't in exhibit bags?
The reason was that Isipingo did not have sufficient or exhibit bags.
Only Isipingo, not any
Yes.
any other place.
No, they only mention Isipingo. Because I also came to know when they were at Port Shepstone that the exhibit were not sealed in the exhibit bag.
Okay, so you only get to know when you're there that they didn't put it in the sealed bags.
It's correct, Commissioner.
Okay, and that is why you then give Mpangase that instruction to
Yes,
do it.
Commissioner.
Okay, and if you had been aware, what steps would you have taken?
I would have asked them to go source the exhibit bag from the nearest police station.
Okay, even if that police station can't store the drugs, the exhibits, you would have at least expected them to go and get exhibit bags from those police stations.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, your proposal to General Sonona that you must use the Port Shepstone DPCI officers, that occurs after you call FSL and they tell you that they don't have space. And when you give him that suggestion, you say that he agreed with the suggestion and instructs you to then tell Prince Lou to get the premises ready. Do you
Yes.
recall? At that stage, did you inform General Sonona of the security lapses at the Port Shepstone premises, or do you know whether he was aware of security issues at those premises?
General Sonona arrived in KZN in 2020 August, and he was fully aware. We even visited all the offices in the province with him.
Well, there's visiting the offices and then him actually being aware of the state of those offices. I'm assuming if he visits the office, unless somebody says to him, this Port Shepstone office doesn't have working CCTV cameras, the alarm doesn't work properly after load shedding, he wouldn't know about that unless he's being told. Even if he visits the premises and observes the premises, he's not going to know unless somebody informs him of that.
He knew because we were busy with the supply chain to get the proper security for the same office.
When you say we were busy, who are you referring
It
to?
was the supply chain management at provincial office and myself, and I was reporting to him.
And supply chain management also reports directly to him.
That time, we did not have a brigadier, so they were reporting directly to me,
They were reporting directly to?
to General Sonona.
Okay, so supply chain management is reporting directly to General Sonona, and you're reporting directly to him about procuring enhanced security measures at Port Shepstone.
Port Shepstone.
And when was this?
During that period, because this date back from 2018, even before I assumed the position in 2020, there were problems with the security at Port Shepstone.
Yes, I understand that. I want to know specifically when were you reporting this to General Sonona, that you in the process of procuring enhanced safety measures at Port Shepstone? When would this have been? Bearing in mind that he joins in
Remember
August
the first 3
2020.
months when he came and we were briefing him of everything that was taking place? It was during that period. Because it wasn't about the 3 operational space, it was all the environments within the TPCI, KZN.
And were these reports in writing, verbally? How were you reporting to him?
I cannot confirm now, Commissioners, unfortunately. But for him to say that he wasn't aware, I wouldn't understand why.
Who besides you would have been reporting to him about these, the efforts to get enhanced security at
No.
Port Shepstone?
Nobody.
So it would have only been you. I thought you said supply chain management was also involved
Oh,
in the
yeah,
process.
yes.
And who was it at supply chain management at that time?
It was Captain Van Niekerk.
So Captain Van Niekerk would have also reported to General Sonona that there's security issues at Port Shepstone and we're in the process of procuring enhanced security there.
Yes.
Okay. And I know you say you can't recall whether it was in writing or verbally. What was his reaction to those reports from you? Were you just reporting to him as a matter of course, or did he have to take certain action as part of the procurement process?
The application was in process, and they were, if I remember, the file was going to Port Shepstone and back, queried by the supply chain, because at that point, Captain Van Niekerk was not appointed as a procurement officer, so we relied on the mother body, the SAPS, which was Colonel Madu. So they will poke holes on the file, that this and that must be rectified and it will be sent back. And at some point, I remember Captain Van Niekerk even volunteered and said the clerk at Port Shepstone must come to an office so they can go to the supply chain and find out exactly what do they want.
Would General Sonona have to sign off on the application? What was the purpose of involving him, of reporting to him?
The 585 form need to be signed.
By him?
The committee will sit and then we all sign.
Including General Sonona?
Yes, he would have signed, but I can't recall if that happened.
You can't recall if he signed, or you can't recall if that process happened?
The process happened.
Okay, so according to you, how far did that process go of securing the enhanced security at the premises?
Commissioners, I must say, even now, we're still in limbo on that. Because when finally Captain Vanike got the authorization to be a procurement office. Last year, we did the application, and when everything was done, it was finalized in, I think it was February, and he submitted the application, but it was not financed because the head office, DPCI finance, said there was no money. And that application is going to be redone this year. And but what has happened, the acting national head advertised the post for security guards for the same office. And interviews have been conducted. Those people might be appointed in July or August this year. So at least there would be some people in that office while we're also doing the CCTV and biometric entrance to the office, which might take some time.
Okay. Now, you say that you based your decision to recommend the Port Shepstone premises on the fact that you were the unit commander and you were based at that premises, correct? That was part of it.
The suggestion,
Yes.
yes, which could have been approved or not approved.
Yes, of course. But I mean, if you are giving a suggestion to General Sonona, who would presumably trust your judgment, being that you were the unit commander of that and stationed at that premises, what other suggestion? Why wouldn't he accept your suggestion?
Especially because you didn't provide any other alternative. This was your only suggestion.
That's correct, Commissioners.
Yes, so you haven't answered our question because you say it could have been accepted or rejected. But why would he reject it?
If he had other alternatives, so we both did not have.
But what, I don't think I fully understand what you're saying.
Because you did not provide him other alternatives, you only provided Port Shepstone DPCI offices as the proposal or as the suggestion. What reason would he have for rejecting your proposal or your suggestion if there were no other alternatives presented to him?
No, I hear that. It was because previously you have stored drugs there with no problems.
And you told him that when you made
Yes,
the
I
suggestion?
did.
Okay. And you told him about the safes, the 2 strong rooms?
Yes.
Okay. Did you tell him about your knowledge that you had, based on your conversations, as you say, with the landlord, that those safes couldn't be breached and could only be accessed with the keys?
No, I did not tell him that.
Okay.
I wanted him to respond to paragraph 46 more directly. Advocate Kube, if you were coming to that, I'd rather wait for you.
We can do paragraph 46 of Prince Lou's statement on page 14. You there? Do you still have it open, Brigadier?
That's correct,
Okay.
Commissioners.
It says, Brigadier Nyuswa was obviously aware of the storage capacity of the safes. Equally, he was aware of the vulnerability of the DPCI office and the fact that there was no active security. He would have been aware of the security applications I referred to above, the latest one being in January 2021. And then on the next page, he would have also been aware of the factual report I gave to him and also the number of burglaries which had been at the office. It was not my place to second-guess Brigadier Nyuswa's decision and commands. Put differently, I could not question his decision or second-guess him or his commands. I have to respect and follow them, which I did. Do you want to comment on that? Especially his comments about there being no active security, your knowledge of that, and the application in January 2021.
I knew about the application and the security, but I trusted that the drugs will be safe there. And it wasn't the intention that the drugs will stay long.
Why do you say it wasn't the intention for it to stay?
Normally, you don't keep drugs for a long time in a place, because then when the investigation is complete, they need to be moved to the lab for destruction.
I know that's certainly the intention, but the evidence that we have heard is that drugs can be stored at a police station storage for more than a year before it gets moved to FSL. And even when it is moved to FSL, it also stays there for quite a long time before it is destructed. You must have been aware of that.
I was aware, but I
Okay.
trusted the security of the safes, that the drugs would be safe at Potchefstroom.
Can I ask you this? You and General Senona, you were traveling from Durban to Ispingo. Where were you traveling from when you first went to Ispingo and later Potchefstroom?
May you please repeat that?
You and General Senona were traveling together that day.
That's correct.
Did you travel from Durban,
From our provincial office,
which is in Durban?
which is in Durban.
Yes, so why do you have difficulty with me asking if you're traveling from Durban? Did you inquire from other police stations in Durban whether they have capacity to store 540 kilograms of prohibited substances?
I did not, commissioners, because already Kenneth Jacob told me he exhausted all the avenues.
But did he tell you that he called stations in Durban and they confirmed that they don't have storage?
I took it when he said he has exhausted all avenues. As an experienced drug investigator, he would have done that.
But did he tell you that?
No.
Or did you assume that he did?
I assumed that he did.
And you never bothered to ask him?
No, I didn't ask him.
The reason I'm asking you is what paragraph 46 says is that you were aware of storage capacity of the safes, meaning all the safes, because if you read the paragraph that precedes that, 45, line 2, it says, I know there were Durban Police Station, Maiden Wharf, or Ispingo, which operated 24 hours. They would have been more secure. Brigadier Nyuswa never mentioned anything about taking exhibits, so we've read this one. But reading 45 and 46 together, Prince Law seems to be suggesting that you were aware of the storage capacity and the security in all the stations that he's referring to here. Now, when Jacob says to you, they don't have storage in Ispingo, you don't bother to say, have you checked Durban, because I know that Durban does have storage capacity and it is also secure.
Commissioners, I will say it's an oversight on my side. I trusted the kennel, and I did not follow that.
So you'll accept that as an oversight?
It's an oversight.
Okay, thank you.
Brigadier, why did you not phone Pretoria, FSL? You say you phoned Amanzi Mtoti. Why did you not phone Pretoria?
It never came into my mind, because we wanted a place where we can store them now.